Hi guys. This is the mom series, Misunderstanding of Multiplicity, but it's also on my channel. So I wanted to make my own video about what I think multiplicity is and is not. Because I think that there's a lot of strange thoughts out there about multiplicity, but I'm going to start with one that I really think I want to be really genuine and authentic about this. I don't believe we're truly multiple. I don't believe anyone is truly multiple in the way that psychiatry has defined multiplicity. When I say this, it often confuses people that are multiple. They go, wait, you don't believe in DID, you don't believe in MTD? And I have to explain it again. So, for the sake of clarity, I'll say it one more time. But I want to go a little further about what I don't believe. And to do this, I would have to say I don't believe I exist. I'm just a made-up person, right? Okay, I'll go that far to say that. I am a made-up person. I am a person that has always been a part of a personality system group that is internal in a personality, and I'm an aspect that somehow got detached in a life of its own. If you look at it that way, it's kind of scientific and freaky. Like, why did you disconnect? Why didn't you stay all together, you know? I've always believed that when psychiatry first encountered people that it's so hard because all the words that I want to use have these negative pathologized meanings now, like splintered, broken, tattered, torn, shattered, alters, alter egos. All of these terms, parts, have these negative connotations now regarding the personality system, the personality, personhood. But my own personal belief has always been that we are created in the image of God, and God is plural. God is many things. God is able to be all things to all people. And I believe that his children, and I believe that God is female and male too, and being a parent. I believe whoever translated the Bible translated it, father from the Hebrew. But I believe that the name of God encompasses female and male. A parent. The original parent that God intended. When I say that, that's so weird. Okay, if I go back, I believe in multiplicity in a very spiritual way, and a very psychological way too. So it's kind of an eclectic thinking. Like, God created Adam. Adam was one. I mean, I don't know if his name was Adam. Who knows if his name was Adam? Maybe his name was something else. I don't know. Maybe God created a whole bunch of Adams. They're walking around, but they didn't have any females. Okay, whatever. Now he created females to be with Adam. Right? I don't know how literal to take that story, but what I do know is that at some point God said, it's not good for man to be alone. So, I mean, I don't know. What do we pick and choose? What we believe? But it seems to me, for me, to understand multiplicity the way some multiples want me to just understand, and the way I would have to understand myself and why I exist or whatever, would be either I totally developed from trauma and it's totally pathological that I exist, and it's something freaky and weird, and not everybody are on some kind of gift. Or, I mean, I just don't believe all these things. I just don't. I don't. I believe that we're all created with multiple facets of ability within us, and those facets evolve with us, and I believe at some point they can have nicknames. I believe we all have a internal editor, an internal commentator, an internal critic, an internal coach, an internal spiritual person, soother, nurturing person, and a lot of times we get those attributes from what we grew up with and what we were around and who influenced us. So there will also be internal protectors, internal ways that we protect, internal ways that we cope, self-soothe, that will be manifested out here on the outside. And it doesn't have to be pathologized at all, but I believe it did get pathologized through psychiatry, that during different times in people's lives, neurologists, psychiatrists were in touch with people that they were like, okay, there's something else going on here, but they weren't quite sure what. I mean, they weren't really sick, they weren't they functioned, they just did more, or they just they were amplified in their abilities, and consistently inconsistent. So you kind of that person in your family, sort of say, that's always a little bit quirky and eccentric, that kind of, you go, oh, I didn't know that person could do that. I believe that people that are multiple tap into abilities that other people ignore. I believe that people that are multiple, or that are now said to have been MPD or DID, don't give themselves credit for being all that they are. And I believe that psychiatry gives people permission to have a form of multiplicity that makes excuse for them being, when it's totally natural for them to be there. Yeah. So if we look at it from like an internal family system model, IFS, which can overemphasize it and oversimplify it, I think, at times. But if I were to take a little bit of IFS model from psychiatry, which says we all have an internal family constantly at work within us. Our internal critic, our internal coach, our internal mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, uncles, grandparents, teachers. Anybody can be in there, and it continues to evolve as you grow. It's not just internal family from when you were wee high. It's ever encompassing as you keep developing. You keep drawing people in like a sponge into your core and thinking, I wonder what this one over here was, and you're constantly readjusting yourself. And that's when I've said stuff like we readjust ourselves, that's what I mean. When I say things like, I don't believe in multiple personality or dissociative identity disorder, it's because not everyone disassociates. It's not a pathology for many people. Many people recognize the multiple aspects, or aspects might not even be a good word, because a lot of these words have been given negative meanings now. I don't even have the right word, but when I have it, I'll be sure to let you know. I combine two modes of therapy. IFS, just a little, and yeah, Freud gets in there a little bit with looking at your past a little, and Carl Jung. Just look into his stuff, and then look at Jeffrey Young's mode therapy. mode therapy, where we, you, I, everyone has these roles that we've learned and that we adapt all day and adjust all day. I believe that all factors in. Now, from a spiritual point of view, I believe we're all born with resilience to survive, the ability to survive. I believe that we're all born with the ability to disassociate, obviously. But that disassociation has become a negative word, like, oh, that person is detached. They're feeling de-real. They're depersonalized. They're oh, something bad's going to happen. No, people have been disassociating for centuries. People have spent thousands of dollars to go travel to India to sit and learn how to go. They're meditating. They're disassociating. People have spent fortunes going to different churches all over the world to work themselves up into a praised state of euphoria to dissociate. Okay? People go to rock concerts, same thing, football games. What is that high, that runner's high? That is a disassociation. So, I mean, you name the way you disassociate, and somehow, some way, people said, one model of science came along and said, ooh, that's not a good way to disassociate. That's a pathological way to disassociate. When the person was coping fine, but now you know their little secret of how they disassociate and how they survive, or how they exist in their life and cope with life. And because you're in a therapeutic relationship, it's named, it's given a purpose, meaning, and permission to exist, and it continues. So that's what I've been saying when I say I don't believe in multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder. I don't believe it ever has to, if it is disordered at any time, it never has to remain disordered. The things that happen to the person because of them being amplified multiple, more aware that they're multiple than others, because I believe everyone is multiple. We're all created in the image of God, and God is all things to all people, and God is plural. And if we're God's children and we are created exactly in God's image, then we're all multiple. So it's sort of like this. If I go to a gynecologist and I say my stomach hurts, they're going to look up my VJ, right? If I go to a neurologist and I say my head hurts, good, look at my head. If I go to a cardiologist and I'm like, my chest, good, look at my heart. If you go to a therapist and say this, and this, you will get a label. You will. It doesn't have to be a pathology. And it's only an opinion. So that's where I'm at regarding multiplicity and TID. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. Take care.